Hello everyone, my name's Melody. I'm a self-taught artist and I like to experiment. So in this video I'm going to show you how I created the coral crown animated photo, as I like to call it. It's not really an animation. It'd be great for like comics, like digital comics where you have like a little bit of movement. But so I'm going to start with the artwork. And so this is the first frame, and I think the most important thing you need to remember is that you need to create multiple frames. So you don't want to be too elaborate with what you're animating. So for example, I tried not to go too crazy with the detail in the fin because I had to redraw it a couple times, and the same thing with the hair because the hair also moved. And so instead of like having like nice blended shading, I would say it's more like cell shading, so it's more blocky and neat, so it's easier to redraw. And so this is the first frame and this is the second frame. So the tail moved a little bit. I did kind of cheat. All I did was I took the fin and I rotated it, same with the coloring because I had limited time, but I did redraw this part of the hair, so this part over here. And then for the third frame I did redraw the tail, and I didn't like how it turned out because this side, hold on, let me just open a new layer here so I can show you, because this side was a little too big, and so it made it look like her tail got bigger as the animation went along. So don't be lazy. If you need to like lower the opacity on a layer and like relook at it a couple times, you should, because that's what will make your animation great, is if you take your time and use more frames than I did. And so with my limited time, what I did to create 6 frames instead of 3 frames, so as you can see this was the first frame, and what I did was I opened the second frame and lowered the opacity so it would look like it faded into the next frame. And so what I did after that was I saved each frame, so I'll show you that. And so I have first frame, and then 1A was the one I had with the faded second frame, and then I have the second frame, and then the 2A, which was again faded, and then I had the third frame. And so now in the video it isn't animated with GIMP, but you can make GIF animations with GIMP, which is really awesome. It's not so great for pretty ones like this because then it's all pixely and that's not fun. But if you want to make a GIF animation, you just open GIMP, and we're gonna open all of these frames as layers, and I'll show you in a second once it opens. GIMP is free, so that's nice. But then after, I'll show you how I animated it in Movie Maker, which is also free. And it'll look a lot nicer. You won't be able to upload it on DeviantArt, I think. Or do they have videos now? I think so. But uploading GIF animations is a lot easier, obviously. So you're just gonna click open as layers. And so I already have the folder open. So I just highlight all of the frames that I want. And click open. And of course it's telling me that the resolution's too high. That's okay. And so what I do to loop the animation is I copy all of the frames. So you can just click the copy tool. Duplicate layer, duplicate layer. I'm going to do this for all of them. And also I duplicate the first frame a couple times. So I edited the layers so it's easier to understand. So I have frame 1 to 5, and so I make a couple duplicates of the first frame just so there's a second for you to actually see the first frame, and then I continue on with 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I go backwards until 1 again, so it actually loops. So the tail goes back and forth, the hair goes back and forth, and so that way it's looped forever and there's no like chop back to the beginning, so it's smoother. And so when you're making a GIF animation, you're gonna export as. So I called it test.gif, but if you're going to do it from the start, you can either go to this and press GIF. You click export. And so you want to save it as animation, loop forever. And so the delay is how many milliseconds are in between each frame. And so for this one, I put it as 90. And this one you need to put replace. And you want to make sure that you click use delay entered for all frames and use disposal entered for all frames. Because otherwise it won't be replaced and you won't have the same amount of time in between each frame. So that's really important. And so you click export. It might take a while because the file is so big it might not even export while I'm using both my screen recorder and the program. But I'll just show you the end result. Oh boy, yeah. I don't have a great computer. I'll just show you what it looked like in the end. So as you can see, it's really pixely. I can even open this in Google Chrome. So I would also recommend testing all of your animations just to see how it looks. Awesome. And now I'll show you how to make it in Windows Movie Maker. So you want to add all of your frames. And then you want to do what you did before, and you're going to copy them and paste, so you have a couple of the first frame, except this is 1A. And so once you have all of your frames in order from beginning to end and then end to beginning again, you want to select them all. And unfortunately in Windows Movie Maker you can't make it that fast, so I usually use 0.03. I think for this one I use 0.07. I would recommend playing with it because depending on how many frames you're using for a second, it's going to be different. And of course, I'm not a professional, so I don't know how many frames per second this actually is, so I just play with it, see how it looks. I'm just gonna copy this a couple of times. And since Windows Movie Maker isn't like a GIF animation, it won't loop it for you, so if you want it to play a couple times, you're gonna have to just copy and paste the animation. That's too fast. I made it in the video. And you still get like full resolution and everything, so it's a lot nicer to make it in Windows Movie Maker. So those are the two ways that I know how to use the animate. I don't have any other software, but I hear Fire Alpaca is pretty good, so I might try that out. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was helpful if you want to make your own moving picture or GIF animation. And I hope you have a lovely weekend. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye!